How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another fun episode of RaceDayTV, the live show. I'm Mark. That's not Ben again.
Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
Robbie Streeter. Mike Parks.
So we just, for some reason, the show wasn't going live on the Claremont Facebook page, so we just shared it over, so it should be up momentarily.
The internet here
sucks.
Is horrible. People think, oh, it's a big area down there. Internet must be great. It's horrible.
I think Mark's not doing his job. I think he needs to come down and rewire.
I'm gonna
rewire the building.
I'm gonna move back to where John is now, so it doesn't look like I'm 5 times the size of him.
What are you talking about? I didn't do that on purpose.
You 100% did.
I definitely did that on purpose. That's okay.
Oh well. What's new?
Not much. You?
Yeah, not much going on.
Yep.
Hey, bud. There he is, right there.
Yep. Racer 88.
What's going on, bud? Oh, Streeter, what's new, man?
Lots of race cars.
Yeah, you were given a list of cars you have over here the other day. How many do you have now?
I own 3 race cars. I help my son with his 4-cylinder that runs on the dirt, and then I own the drivetrain and really help out with Keith's car up on the dirt at Bear Ridge.
Jeez.
So does your boy have any aspirations of coming back to racing on pavement, or is he having fun at Bradford?
No, I think he really would like to. After that bad wreck on a few years before he went to college, it was tough on him. The following season, we tore up a lot of race cars, and he took a couple years off, and I wanted him to have fun, and told him, let's go race dirt. And this year, he's going to kind of control his own racing this season that way he wants to. And
now he's out of school now, right?
He's out of college.
He's out of college. And he's living in the area and all that stuff.
Yeah, he works at Judd's Automotive. You guys,
with Chris,
drive by all the time, and he's doing good.
Good.
So he's around.
That's good.
Now you've really burst on the scene in the last couple of years as a driver, but you've been around the sport for quite a while. Give us a little bit of how you got involved from the get-go.
Years ago, Joe Tatro and I actually started work at the same place. I just barely had graduated high school. I graduated when I was 17, so he had just gotten out of the military. I helped him for a year or two. I was just a pit dummy, did whatever. And then Jack Bateman came to me and asked me if I wanted to do some work on tires and stuff for the modified. And that went a couple years.
Were you when you were doing the mod stuff with Jack? Was it when he was running the tour, or was it the local Claremont Monadnock stuff?
Yeah, that was the last year of the Claremont stuff, and then the following year we did the tour stuff.
Yeah,
we did. I don't remember.
Jack ran the whole series, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So you were on the road a lot.
Yes, with Jack, and that was fun.
There was one time. Oh, God. Years ago, we were on our way to Williams Grove to a sprint car. Actually, Nathan and I, we were on our way to Williams Grove, and we're going by the exit for Flemington. And I said, hey, let's just go check the racetrack out. And we pull in, and they're racing. I said, oh, what the Christ? So we went in, and the tour was there. The tour was there along with that. Is that one of the races that you guys did at Flemington?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I did so many races when I was so young with Jack, and I learned so much. I mean, there was so many years I didn't know anything, and Jack taught me a lot.
That Flemington, when it was pavement, was brutal. I mean, there was guys wrecking and motors flopping down the front stretch, and it was just...
Where was that?
Flemington, New Jersey.
Okay.
It was a 5/8 of a mile square, so you had...
Nice.
You really never... You really never went on a straightaway because you drove it as a big circle, and you basically lifted, if I remember right, you lifted going into turn 3.
I got to look a picture of this place up now.
Other than that, you were flat-footed all the way around. If I remember right, the Big Block Supers, Isma went there, and they were running a 5/8 mile track in like 14 seconds.
Oh, I believe it.
It was just ungodly fast.
What happened to that track? Did it just...
It was on the fairgrounds down there, and it was dirt for...
Oh, wow.
Ever. And it was ultra successful as a dirt track. And
that is odd, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. They were having problems with the dust and stuff, so they paved it. Actually, they did a couple years of Craftsman trucks there too.
Really?
And that's the direction they were going. But weekly racing and pavement in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, when you're 100% right in the heart of dirt country. So weekly racing didn't really.
It's tough.
It was tough. They struggled with fans, and long story short, it's a shopping center now, I think.
I'm looking at pictures of it. It looks like it's right in a neighborhood.
Yeah, it was a big fairgrounds. I mean, it's kind of like, same idea as the Rutland Fairgrounds.
Look at that. That's some cars.
Cool track.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off. So
Hey, sidetracks are always fun.
Yeah, so I learned a lot from Jack. So we went through, built a car. We totally rebuilt that A1 chassis, and I learned so much from Jack. And then Donnie Lajoie and Danny Brown did the NIDA tour.
okay,
and
so
then
then
I traveled with them.
did you do some pro stock racing with Donnie?
Yeah,
or is it still the late model stuff?
Yeah, I did the late model stuff and then into the pro stock stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had my son. So it was a few years that I stopped doing full time with anybody.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, probably 2014 or so, I helped out a few people throughout racing for, pretty much weekly. And then Joe Tatro told me, why don't you have your own car? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not much of a driver. I'm more of a guy that likes to turn wrenches. And I don't know. He talked me into it. And this is where it ended up.
So you're entering year 6?
Seven.
Year
I
7.
think 7. Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's always been in the super street type car.
Yeah, I mean, the super streets have definitely changed over the last 7 years.
For sure. Yeah. But it's been with that group of guys and that group of cars as it's progressed up through.
Yeah, I mean, the first car I brought out was not even close to what everybody else had, but it was fun and I learned a lot, and I had to stop being a crew guy driving. That was my biggest downfall. Is I'm always saying what I should be doing to make the car better. When I can't, I'm driving it, but that happens. It took me a lot to just distinguish the two.
So when you first started racing, Kanan?
Yeah, I raced Kanan. I did race Kanan a few times as a driver, but as a crew guy, yes, at Kanan all the time. Back when Donnie was racing.
When Donnie was kicking everybo's ass up there on a regular basis.
Yeah, when he was with the Browns, it definitely was a good show.
Yeah.
Actually, I talk to Donnie all the time. He's actually just down the road from me.
Is he still driving for Jack?
Yeah, they're still going to do another season. Yeah.
Good.
It's awesome.
What were some of the challenges you faced as you came from a crew guy over to the car? Like, it's a completely different world.
Yeah, I still struggle with it. Let's be honest. I'm the guy that wants to make the car perfect. But I critique myself more. I mean, I watch all of the videos, and I yell at myself more than anybody ever could, And I do know I've gotten after every race director, and I've had to do some. I might have a little.
Most of them are sitting with you in this room.
Now, one thing I can say though, Robbie has approached me at the end of the night. We've had a conversation, and whether he agreed with what we said or not, that was it. It was over and it was done with, and we just moved on to the next week.
Brian said he deserved it.
That's one thing that trying to word this
Goes a long way.
Word it the best politically correct way I can. A racer 99% of the time is not going to agree with the race director if the call's been made against him. So the only thing you can do is you can answer his question to the best of your ability and just move on. When you stand there and scream and holler and yell and argue and so forth and so on, it goes nowhere. Yeah. I mean, that's...
No, when Joey Jarvis was the race director, I jumped on him and back and forth. I had to apologize to Joey the next week, and there was definitely a time that he came to me and said, I messed up. I just can't change what I did, but I just make sure it doesn't happen again. And no, it's always been fine. I mean, when I was learning, trust me, I was wrecking, didn't even know I was wrecking until I watched a video, and I'm like, what am I doing? What? That wasn't me.
That's one of the pluses we have with RaceDayTV now. I mean,
and minuses.
There's no minuses. It's all pluses because You know, it helps us on the official side say, oh, yeah, I fucked that one up.
Yep.
You know,
And we've all done that.
And absolutely. And a driver can watch that and say, oh, wait a minute.
They fucked that one up.
No, or they can look at it and say, oh, wait a minute, I see what they were talking about. You know, so there's a lot of positive, not just for people to sit home and watch Race Day TV.
Well, it's good to, I'm sure. And
I don't know if everybody actually knows that you guys have live replay
Sure.
up in the tower before the replay. So
as
when
long
people,
as they catch it, people.
we don't get all of
the
them.
time.
Yeah.
So when you get some of the announcers being like, well, there should be a replay playing any minute. I'm listening to the Cal and say, back it up, forward, back it up, stop. No, a little more. And it's like I'm listening to the guys up in the tower announcing, like, when will we see this replay? I'm like, will you shut up? I'm trying to listen to Callan. Because I'm in contact with the race directors down in my trailer to be able to find out what they want. So, yeah, there's people that didn't know that. They actually have a nice screen right up next to them that they can watch.
And
They see different. So what you see on the screen is one shot. They have all the camera angles and they're all tied together, so they get to watch it on everything that we had.
Yeah, so early in my career, I never got to see myself in the video because, you know, when you're running tens, you don't get as much TV time. So it was hard to see. But, you know, they would always catch when I wreck or, you know, do some bonehead move that I.
Yeah, you make the highlight reel.
Yeah, you know, the highlight reel.
Mike got me with that last year. Is when because I raced for a couple of years unsuccessfully, and Mike's like sent me a clip of an Eagle Times article. It's like, and Mark Boder got DQ'd for leaking fluid, and he's like, oh, you did? Look at you, you're right there. I was like, you're a jerk.
Yeah, but I mean, what people don't like, my whole crew and me spend so much time in the shop, and you know, between everybody that's involved with my race cars, Nate Kelly and Brandon and Keith and Wesley and Eddie, these guys are there all the time, and we work so hard on our cars. I think it's paying off.
Absolutely.
But it's paying off for me because honestly, driving an easy car, a car to drive, I can figure it out. No, I'm not saying I'm a good driver. I'm just saying an easy car to drive is way easier to drive.
I was just going to say, any dumbass can sit behind the wheel. If the car handles, it's the easiest thing in the world to drive.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the Outlaw that I drove. I mean, Russ gave me a chance to drive it, and he kept telling me I was going to drive it, and I was like, yeah. Then finally, he goes, "You're driving the car tonight." I'm like, "I am?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, I don't even know what this car is. Like, I've never sat in it. I don't know how the belts are. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the shift pattern is. I don't know anything. And he's like, "Get in it." Okay. So I got in, and that was awesome. He let me take that thing out, and I will say that car just handled.
So does that make you want to? You're happy racing your Super Street?
Yeah, I love my Super Streets.
Okay.
Not only the work part, but the driving part.
Yeah, okay. But does that make you want to move to a different division down the road? Do you want to go to an ACT type car or an Outlaw type car or a Pro Stock or a Mod or something like that? Does that?
Yeah, I mean, most people, some people do know. I already got an Outlaw.
You got an Outlaw?
That sharing the seat with Ricky Bly and I will be sharing the season. It's one that was built many years ago, never ran. Yeah. It's the sister car to the one that I drove for Russ that Ricky had built.
Ricky originally had, yeah.
Yeah, so we got that one. Actually, that one will, if anybody comes to the expo, they'll see that new hot rod there. Yeah, really excited about that. Not sure what the schedule is going to be between Ricky and I. I know he's going to open the season with it.
Yeah.
We'll work out
the details as you go. Take it a race at a time and have some fun with it.
Right. It all depends on the Super Street. My focus is the Super Street.
Yeah.
I mean, finishing second every season just kind of sucks. I've done that a couple times, and I want to run for it.
Yeah. I mean, the Super Street class it's stout. It is absolutely stout. I mean, there's six to eight cars on a regular basis I think maybe that's stretching it a little bit, but I think that's
I think that's about right.
I think that's pretty accurate.
And that's at Claremont. That's your regular guys. You know,
Yeah.
that's not accounting for if some of the Hudson guys or
Sure.
Lee guys or
Or if the
anywhere
Monadnock
else
guys come up or
Monadnock guys come
something.
up.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys are bad fast too, and they put. I think when you get some of those outsiders come in. Claremont has the home turf, enough people there where a lot of you guys are local. It gets that aspect going like the old days where you get the outsiders versus the hometowners. It's pretty good to see. And the super streets are that perfect division because you're all out there, you're all pretty close, and you all kind of know each other and how to race around each other at this point. So you put on a really good show.
That's one thing that I've, over the last 3 years, I think it started the year that, I think the first year when I was there back in COVID year, I don't think the super streets had any type of rear view mirror. And I think the following year we let them put the spot mirror in. And the guys at Claremont, 98% of them have learned how to race with a spot mirror. For the simple, I can see it, and I think Brian can reiterate that a little bit too, is when guys go into turn 3 at Claremont, turn 3 at Claremont, you're coming in, and the fast groove is you come in a little high and you pinch down, but that whole bottom's wide open.
They're lunging.
Okay, so somebody will start coming in, and they might not be up to your door, but when that car stays in the outside lane like it should, that tells me as a race director, okay, that guy is using that mirror for what he's supposed to use it for. And I think that has improved the racing at Claremont 100%.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more give and take. I think in the last few years. But I think cars are more racy than they've been in the past.
Yeah.
So a little better handling. Like if you used to get into somebody, you'd put them around. It was you had to be a racer. That's what happened to me. I used to think everybody was smashing into me, and now I'm like, no, they just barely touched me. But I went around and had to learn that. But yes, I think now the cars are more racy, the race cars, and I think it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And the mirror is definitely just another tool that I think there's a few guys that still need to learn when to check those or where to put them on their cars to make them more useful.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anybody use it not the way they're supposed to on any type of regular basis.
I would tell you absolutely not, because in the spot mirror I can tell if someone's there, but I can't see.
No,
you can't see enough to understand exactly
when you're going
what's
in the
going
corner,
on.
you can take a quick glance to see if somebody's at your left rear going into the corner.
Exactly. It's not. The one thing that at Claremont there is an outside groove many times during the season, and with just a spot mirror, it everybody knows a fast groove there. They send it up to the wall right off the bottom of 2, and if you're trying on somebody to go to the outside, you end up in the fence. And
yeah, if you're going on the outside at Claremont, you got to be all the way there coming out of 2.
Yes, you have to be able to ship it into 1 to
you got to be able. You got to be up to the passenger side door, so that guy really knows you're there.
Yeah,
on the outside, yeah.
And so that's the one thing that.
And I attributed that to that wall on the backstretch.
When the wall wasn't there, definitely it was.
It changed. It changed the groove so much at Claremont. I think that the entry now in turn 1, where everybody enters really high in turn 1, that used to be the outside lane.
Right.
That was the solid second groove going into 1, so you could get that launch. You could sail it in, but now, and I keep saying that groove gets higher and higher every year. Are we going to be out next to the wall? If that goes out another car width, we're pretty goddamn close to, dirt track racing up against the fence. That's.
It's getting there. I think, with the cars picking up more speed, I definitely
Is there more
see
grip up there?
Sometimes.
In
the middle of the season, no. But at the beginning and the end of the season, the car feels good. It'll start the turn to finish. The apex is easy because you can get you can set the nose on the car good. I don't know. 1 and 2 is totally different for me now that I've spent some time like studying, because everybody knows I sucked at Claremont. That's one of my reasons I went to Hudson for 2 seasons.
Are you going back to Hudson this year?
I gotta go. I love that place.
That's
I mean, as
awesome.
much as everybody says that place isn't racy, and I'm like,
It's a
it's the
racy
throttle
little
pedal.
track. It's a fun little track.
Yeah.
It's really racy. You just gotta
Yeah, you gotta
ease on the throttle.
put the
Take some
egg on it. You know?
take some gear out of it. Do whatever you got to do so you're not the whole. I haven't raced there that much. We ran the pro stock there a bunch. I ran the streeter.
You were horrible.
No, pro stock. we were fine. We ran the streeter there once. The first streeter that Nathan and I built. The Gen 3, 4. I don't know what the hell it was. Camaro, and I hated every second I was on the racetrack with that car.
It's such a. I mean, I feel like it's such
Just
a
at that track or
forgiving
everywhere?
No. Yeah, I ran it at Monadnock once, and I hated it there too. I said, I'm not driving these cars. I didn't. I was comfortable in the pro stock stuff, and I just wasn't comfortable in the car.
Now, these super streets, how much faster do you think these things are going to get? Because they get faster and faster and faster every year. What do you see coming down the pipe in the technology of these cars that's going to take these to the next level now?
I want mine to be faster.
Well, yes.
That's how they evolve.
I still think in the next season we saw guys in the 5s and 6s last year. I think you're going to see that a little less. I mean, you're going to see that in the 4s. I think that's going to happen this season. There's going to be a couple cars that are going to do it. I think the tires are getting better. The guys are understanding the cars a lot better. And when the rules opened up 2 years ago, it made a huge difference, you know. And I still think there's another 10th or 2 on the table, and I hope I'm the guy that finds it first.
Yeah.
You go back and watch some of the old races that Sean Boudreau puts up from Claremont.
I
and
do all
just
the time.
Listen to the cars in the corner, and then listen to them now. It's a completely different world.
These are purpose built race machines. These are not the jalopies you pull off.
I think.
Oh, I missed those too, though. Those were
I think
fun.
a lot of it now with the Super Street class, it's not even just a Super Street class. It's the guys that have a solid tire program. Okay, tires are the last. That's your contact patch to the race car. You can do work anything you want to do, chassis wise and everything. But if you don't have a solid tire program, you're screwed. And I can speak at Claremont. I bust everybody's balls all the time when they come in and they're looking at batch numbers and they're doing this and they're measuring 800 million tires, and I pick on them and call them they're all dumb. But you know what? Those are the guys that are running up front on a very continuous basis, and then the guys who just come in and grab a chalk mark tire and off they go.
You know who you are.
I mean.
This is what I learned when I was with Jack, you know.
I think it's all dumb. You have to do all that stuff, but if that's what you have to do to have a solid to have your solid tire program, and these cars are so competitive, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I think that's one. Like I said, that's one thing I learned with Jack is figuring out what we need for tires and making sure they're the exact same all the time. And when there's a 1 tire a week rule, you really need to be on top of that. And I think with that, I try to map all that out this time of year. I mean, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing for tires and when I'm doing it. And there's guys that are better than me for sure, because it showed last year. There was some guys that knew how to where they were putting the tire or when they were putting them on.
Are you gonna put it on the right rear, or are you gonna put your new one on the left front and season it in, then move it back to the left rear, or you running 3 right side tires, or or running 2 rights and 2 lefts? And I mean, it's
that's a little bit to it. I mean, and we have a pretty good team that works on that. Like between Nate and Brandon and myself, we really focus on the tires. But there's so much to them now, because when I started being around the races, these cars are late models. I mean, for back then, not saying nowadays, but the late models of the late 90s, early 2000s, these are faster than those.
Even 10 years ago.
yeah.
So, we're doing real race cars. These aren't hobby stocks that I thought I was jumping into 7 years ago, because that just isn't happening anymore.
They probably were when you first did.
Yeah, they were at least close enough.
They called them street stocks, but they weren't purpose built, because there was a lot of guys like myself that were out there
just having fun.
Cars having fun. But I love the shop stuff. I mean, that's ultimately that's what I love,
How many nights a week you guys in the shop?
Oh, now, if you ask my wife, she's going to tell you every night. But we try to only do 5-6 nights. But
So every night.
every night.
it ends up this time of year we're in there every night. I mean, if somebody stops by, there's
Who is your crew? So for people who don't know.
well, Keith Manser is my one guy that's with me all the time. I mean, I give my anything to that guy. That we built him a car because he's done so much for me over the years.
But after this, I want to get back to what you built for Keith to race at Bradford.
Yeah, his brother is there. I mean, his brother works 1,000,000 hours, so he's there as much as he can be. I have a lot of guys that come to the racetrack and help me and do anything. You know, my son's there every week for me. Ed's there every week for me. But in the shop, it's usually me, Keith, and Wesley in the shop on a week-to-week basis. Obviously, I have Nate, to lean on here and there when I have to. But yeah.
Okay, so I think everybody knows that you own the 00 that Brandon drives.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty common knowledge that you're the car owner of the 00. So do you work and maintain the 00 as well, or is that Brandon and his guys that take care of that? And
do I help? Yes, I help. But I mean, we have so much going on at my garage that Nate and Brandon and those guys usually take care of their own car for the most part. I mean, obviously when Brandon pulls a bonehead and
drives into turn 3 wall. I'm never going to let him live that down.
Well, I don't as a car owner. I'm never going to let him.
That's awesome, and I know his crew chief's never going to let him down. Let that go either. So
They fired up something up down there yesterday. It sounded pretty good.
Did they?
Oh, I was sitting there in the living room. I was like, ooh.
I wonder if it's his truck.
Oh, it had to have been his truck. I don't think there's a race car.
Oh, it definitely sounded like a race car to me.
Shop that has the motor ready. Oh, maybe.
Yeah. No,
definitely
I think
sounded
it's his
like
truck.
a
It's his
really.
truck. Yeah.
That truck should sound like a race car.
Okay.
It is. Let's
very
be real.
nice, yeah.
I mean, but yeah. So those are my guys. Those are the guys that are there all the time for me. And like everybody knows, I lost my house, my shop to the fire, and these guys were still there every night, like stopping by,
insane.
need anything, and most of it was just me picking through junk,
Yeah.
But they stopped by every night to see if they could find some junk that I was looking for, and then, they're still there. And yes, so you were going to Bradford.
Bradford, yeah. So you built a car for Keith.
Yeah, I built it in my shop. Keith wanted to run dirt. His dad ran dirt. He
Back in the Canaan days.
Back in the Canaan days.
Yeah,
It was, and Keith ran some, with a 4-cylinder and had a lot of fun, but he really wanted to build the dirt stock. So I will tell you that whole adventure was way more than it needed to be. We might have brought 3 cars in, and they left going in the back of pickups to the scrap pile, and then we finally dug out his old one. It was up in the woods behind his parents' house, and we brought that in, and we were thinking we were going to keep pieces of it, and then me being me decided to start cutting, and we brought it down to the frame and built a purpose-built dirt stalker for Barry.
So fill us in.
Bradford.
Okay, so Keith is like 6'8", 6 foot. I don't know. He's a big kid.
Yeah.
He's a foot taller than me. I don't know. He's a giant.
He's a big kid. So what did you have to go through to build a car for him to be comfortable and fit in?
Yeah, I will tell you, Keith nor I could ever afford to have somebody build a car for Keith, because the guy is 6'7". He says he's 350, but he's lying.
Yeah, okay.
A normal cockpit's 19 inches wide. They're 4 feet long. That's a normal cockpit in a race car. Well, I don't know if Keith's feet could fit in that.
Yeah.
Much less his body. So we started, and it's like a 56 inches long, with the tin work 2 inches past that, and then the cockpit width is like 23 inches wide. So 4 inches wider than a normal cockpit. So everything had to be built. I mean, the shift linkages, even the parts that bolt onto the transmission, every single part, the exhaust, because there's no room. But it goes good. Like Keith's first season this year, he went out and showed that we could build a car. Cause
he won some races, didn't he?
I think he won 4.
Yeah.
And then he ran up front.
Yeah.
besides the one night we wrecked, I mean, he was headed up front every night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun for me.
So what does that do for the weight of the car? I mean, is there a weight rule in that class at Bradford?
I don't know. I keep telling me he's going on diet.
Yeah.
There is a weight rule. Does
that put you at a big disadvantage, or were you able to build the car with that in mind and keep the car where it needed to be weight wise?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it's a little heavy.
It's a little heavy, but the chassis is. I mean, it was a purpose-built dirt stalker. So
you built a race car.
We built a race car to go race, and I mean, we moved weight around and did what we needed to do. And I mean, I just keep saying his big head's way up there, and on dirt, everybody said put the weight up high. So he does all right.
Well, most of it's in his head, so it already is.
Right. No, I have a blast. I love racing, and everybody that knows me knows I'm a race fan before I'm a racer. So I'm Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. I mean,
So Saturday night, you're racing, but that's got to be more of a relaxing. I'm not going to say you're relaxing because you're working your ass off on the race car, but it's different than it is when you're driving.
Yeah, and dirt's different than asphalt.
Absolutely. Tell us the difference. What's your day like when you go to Bradford? What time do you get there? How much practice do you have? Fill us in. I'm going to laugh. So.
Well, it's the exact opposite of what we normally do for asphalt. We get there somewhere around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
We go out on the racetrack, I don't know, somewhere around 5:30 or something. And then we get to run a whole whopping 3 laps for practice. So I always tell them that's useless, so let's use the qualifier. And then we got the qualifier for 10 laps, and the track is...
So do you think... trying to be really politically correct, okay?
I've heard Mike say this unpolitically correct. I'm wondering how he's going to put this into terms.
Dirt racing seems to be flourishing in a lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that on the pavement side, I think sometimes we are our own worst enemies as far as practice, buy tires, practice more, and so forth and so on. And then the dirt guys, they come, they unload the car 20 minutes before hot laps, take 3 hot laps and go race. Why can't we do that on the pavement?
I will tell you, the track changes too much. Like our track.
Dirt don't change?
Well, no, the dirt changes, so we don't want everybody to run a bunch of practice because the little bit of tack, the little bit of grip it has, we want it to stay there, On asphalt, everybody will see, the heat of the day will change Claremont a little bit compared to the night. Hudson's very much like that, but...
Would a pavement track save the racers from themselves from going to a program, something like that?
Don't put me on the spot, Mike, because everybody's going to be mad at me on my opinion.
They already are.
Everybody.
No, I mean, I've been saying this for years. Even my Granite State series, the guys just practice. It's the dumbest thing in the world. But they all do it, and they all open the checkbook, and they buy tires, and everybody just moves forward. But from the promoter side and the racetrack owner's side, that's not sustainable. I mean, how do you make pavement racing more sustainable so the guys can afford to come week in and week out, not run a half a season and then get tight on finances? I think you know where I'm going with it.
I know what you're saying. I will tell you, when I wasn't doing very well, my car was way out, I wanted to practice. Not saying I did any significant changes to make it way better, but when your car is good, you don't need to practice that much.
Correct.
So it's a double-edged sword for everybody, because if you're not fast, you're practicing, you're using more tire, and then you're against a guy that his car's going good and he doesn't have to practice. But yes, I totally get it. Should we run less practices?
I mean, we've cut it back at Claremont on race day about as much as that I feel right now we can. We have 2 practices of like 8 laps, and that's it.
But that's the racer too. In us, we go out there 10 laps. Some guys think they have to run the 10 laps. Like when I go out there, my car's out to lunch, I just pull off.
It's not going to get any better.
No, I'm not going to all of a sudden find something out there that's going to change the race car. And that I learned from Donnie. I mean, racing under Donnie Lajoie, as soon as he hit the racetrack, he was like, nope. And you'd see him come flying off the racetrack and be like, no way. But I think the racers themselves kind of run that double-edged sword themselves, you know, like if you can't, if you don't need to, get off, you know, and if the car isn't good, get off, like, and stop using up tires. But at the beginning of the year, we're not killing tires nearly as much when the track isn't hot, but they're like places like Hudson, you know, I try not to practice very much. And when you are, you try to just get a good lap and get off, you know, but me being the guy that I was, I just would stay out there and just see if I could get a little bit more out of it, you know?
Don't let the dirt guys fool you, though. I was in a class recently listening to some of those guys that run up front in the dirt mods. They put a brand new right rear on it for practice, for the heat race, and for the feature. And I'm like, that has like 3 laps. And he's like, that's 3 laps less than the other guy. And they're like $300 a piece. He's like, don't care.
That's kind of the thing. And like you were saying, it's up to the racer and it's a double-edged sword. I think anything that a racetrack can do, not that we don't try because we do, to save a racer money. If I save you $5, you're gonna go spend that $5 somewhere else in your race car.
Yeah, and I've kind of that same philosophy is you know, when pro stock racing all went away from the dry sump motors and the 9-to-1s and all that stuff, and you put a $7,000 crate motor or $5,000 crate motor in when it all started, what happened? Everybody bought bigger trucks, bigger trailers, stackers, and so a race team's going to spend what their budget is.
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
that's just the way it is.
But in super streets, I think it's really calmed down when the 1 tire a week rule.
Yeah, and I think we learned that in COVID.
Yes,
I think everybody was buying way too many tires because they thought they had to.
And in COVID, you couldn't buy nothing.
And COVID, you couldn't buy anything, and everybody realized that, wait a minute, I think we're spending way too much money on tires. We don't need to do this.
Well, we didn't have a choice. I mean,
well, no, you didn't have a choice, but I think everybody learned how to manage their tires better and realize that they didn't have to buy 4 tires a night or 3 tires or 2 tires every week.
I got a quick story.
Oh, we love stories.
That's what we're here for.
Speaking of Hudson,
I love.
I was racing there. I do. I love the place. But so during COVID, we couldn't buy tires, and so I tried tire softener. Now I'm not very bright, so I thought it tells you only to apply it 3 times. Well, I said 6 is going to make this thing really sticky.
How'd that work for you?
It was really good for about 23 of the 30 laps.
Yeah.
I did get out in a lead and quite a ways out there.
I think I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had a caution, and I don't know what happened. The tire shut off, the light switch got hit, and I played defense. A green slit went around me, making me look stupid. And I'm like, oh, no. What am I going to do now? And luckily, everybody there didn't wreck me because I really wanted to win.
You were going backwards at that point?
Yeah.
I was definitely going backwards. And that's when I realized that, you know, it didn't work for me. Yeah. Like, I put the tire softener in the trash can and said, I just don't know.
So just speaking of tire softener, just so everybody be well aware of that, we have a no chemical treating policy whatsoever. We set up with Blue Ridge Labs. It's a very simple process. So just if guys in the past have been doing that, just put it in the back of your head.
Well, this was many years ago. You can't hold it against me.
No,
No.
I soaked. You know, for many years we did.
So we went to Tech. And
see, that's where when you said, well, no, what do I do? My answer was going to be finish 6th.
So, no, actually, I did finish 2nd, holding on. Like, I can't believe no one just didn't wreck me. And we go to Tech, and Dennis comes over and looks at my tires. And I knew he knew what was going on. He wasn't. Well, my right rear was down to the canvas. And I was like, well, you can try with the tire durometer. Like,
yeah, what are you gonna
it's all white. and he obviously couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I'd killed the tires.
Yeah.
I guess I made them a little too soft, and it was really good for the 23, 24 laps that I.
If you didn't have a caution, you probably would have been fine.
For sure, but that's when I realized it's way above my pay grade. I can't mess with it. So
I've seen a lot of guys, especially back when I was announcing at Lee. You go out in the the camping area at Oktoberfest, and guys would be out there juicing their tires, and you could watch them that next day blowing right rears out on. You can't soak at Lee and go for a 75 lap street stock race, and all those guys were just dying out there. You know what I mean? Whatever made you go to Hudson? Just decided one day to go try it?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened the first time. I think Larry Riendo and Chris were taking their car down there, and so I was like, well, and I had some bad luck at Claremont, you know, just fighting for 10th all the time, and the people that are running around me, we were destroying each other. So I said, all right, I'll go to Hudson. Well, we go to Hudson there, and we set fast lap. And I was like, I've never set fast lap in my life.
You're like, it wasn't me. It was the track.
So I did. I
am good.
I blamed it on Claremont. I did. I said, oh, that place just sucks, so I'm just going to stay here. So I ran there. We didn't finish the race very good because obviously I didn't know anybody there. And at the year that I went there the first time, Hudson was the guys that have been there forever, you know? So no one was giving me any slack, you know? They weren't going to.
Who the hell is this guy? Fuck him.
Exactly. They moved my ass. And so the following year I went back. That was with a new car. No, that was with that metric car.
Yep.
And we had a great season.
Where did that car end up?
You know what happened? That was a great car. I really hated parting with it, but I also didn't want to see it get destroyed. It was sitting up behind Keith's mom's house, and Travis Cass has been wanting that car forever. Well,
So Travie has it?
Travie has it. I did decide to finally sell it, which, trust me, even the night that I sold it, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever done. I love that car, you know, and I love the way it looked.
I love that style body on these cars, but I'm
Trying to remember that car.
The black one.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
I do. All right, it was black. I do remember
Yeah.
that one.
Nice
then.
car.
that was the funnest car that I've had to learn how to race.
Yeah, I still think that class should have like a 50 or 75 pound weight brake for that style body and a 78 style Camaro body complete.
Oh, you know what I'll do?
I mean, I that's just my own personal opinion because I think that makes those cars look different than all the other divisions that are out there.
I agree. I mean, but with the rules the way they are,
No, you got to do it. Yeah, I get it.
we got to do it. But no, so that's how I ended up at Hudson. And that season I did, I mean, whatever we took, 7, 8 podiums that season. I never won there, and that's my thing is I've never won at Hudson, and I really want to. But we did very good there. We ran up front for a lot of the season. That was the year that Chuck won the championship.
Yep.
I finished second to Chuck. And no, racing with those guys was great, and I love racing there.
Not a lot of other guys you'd want to finish second to. Chuck Daney, he's a good dude too.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, we were supposed to see. Chuck still hasn't let me do the just grudge race between me and him. We had that all planned. He backed out. I just want to call him out a little bit. That race never happened. Yeah, he said, you know, hey, let's race. And I trust me, you know, like me, I go home and I think about things in the shop. So I had it all planned. I had a brand new set of 800s I was putting on that thing because I was not going to let Chuck win that one. But then he backed out, and I don't know what did happen. It was probably we were running late that night or something, but I always blame it on Chuck. It was Chuck's fault.
So I always, anybody that just shows up to race, especially super streets at Hudson, I always just bring up Oscar. You know, do you have like a first
Oscar experience?
Actually, I do. Oscar definitely showed me where the backstretch wall was. And that was the first year of the backstretch wall. Like, I never raced there. I went and watched races at Hudson when there was no backstretch.
Yeah.
Well, there was whatever you guys call it, that tire barrier
wall.
thing that everybody
flipped when they hit it.
Yeah, but
awesome.
so it was the first year of the wall, and I never didn't run Hudson that much and didn't realize that if you get up there far enough, that wall sucks you in.
Oh yeah.
Well, Oscar showed me where it was.
Where it was and how it sucked in.
He helped me.
Yeah.
So I figured not to go up there ever again. But no, Oscar was good. That time I was very upset with Oscar because he tore up my car pretty good. But I will say a guy that would give anybody help was Oscar. If I would have said, Oscar, you need to come to my shop and help, he would have.
Yep.
You know, that's just once I got to know all these guys, and then I became one of the guys.
Yep.
Like I was like. it was only one season, and I was one of the
You were
guys
one of the guys, yeah.
at Hudson, and I was like, oh, these guys are cool, and
Yeah.
we were having fun, and we used to pit. There was like 4 of us guys that would just harass each other, and we were always in everybody else's trailers.
Yeah.
And I love that part of Hudson. You know, that anybody was helping anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I came in with a flat tire. Brian Beecher's over there. Everybody's over there just changing tire, and then the night that stuff happened and the tire got wrapped up around and the police got involved. You know what? Everybody was there.
I don't think I know this
help-
story. Let's hear this one after.
Yeah.
I might have gotten hit under caution on purpose, and my crew was very heated, and we were going for a championship.
And Keith was
I had
there,
to have
too,
been
right?
there. I had to have been there for this.
Definitely there, but he knew we were running for a championship, so he stayed cool. But I had already calculated that I was going to jail and how much it was going to cost coming off the racetrack. But by the time I got there, because whoever was driving the wrecker at Hudson, I think they pushed me in backwards. They didn't like drive the truck; they backed the truck all the way around the racetrack.
Oh, I know who was running it at that time. Yeah, that sounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
do you know how frustrating that is?
Yeah.
Like, and you're doing it right in front of the stands, and I was like, oh, you're embarrassing me. And it was going so slow because it's going back and forth.
Yeah.
By the time I got in there, I was just like, I was so deflated. I couldn't even act up. I went to my trailer, and I'm like, this just sucks. But that was probably my worst experience at Hudson, and Nick and I've talked. That was another Oscar and Nick got together. Nick thought I did it.
Yeah.
After we had already gone to the back over an altercation that I was down bottom, he was up top, and he wanted my stretch of the racetrack.
Nick
and I didn't give it
Producer
up.
says, I apologize for that, Streeter.
Hey, while I'm thinking of it, how did you ever get hooked up with Brandon?
Good question.
I don't know.
It just happened.
It kind of just happened. I mean, Nate and I had been talking about building another Super Street, but I had the Ellen Berry car
Yeah.
already that I had purchased, but we had definitely talked about building a new car already, and then we kind of just got in a conversation one night, and he's like, "What do you think about Brandon?" And I'm like, I mean, I know he's a wheel at Thunder Road, and he had done good at Claremont when he came there for that season that he had to take a little.
He had the metric car. You know, he took his little vacation from Thunder Road.
Yeah, he had to take his little little time off.
Time off.
So
His time out.
Yeah, he needed the reset button, and
I think that did him good, though.
I like Brandon. That I have to harass him about the bonehead moves that he does.
Of course.
But he's a wheel man. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that kid just.
I think when Chris sat him down for the year, I think something clicked, because I can't think of a time that I have had any issues per se. And yeah, is he going to give me shit every now and then? Of course.
But everybody has to give you shit. I mean,
but
Damn right.
and I don't think he's been a problem at all.
No.
And I think when Chris sat him down, I think it clicked in his head.
No, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I talked to him on my way here. You know, we bullshit about racing and what's going on, and he's helped out me. I mean, he's pushed me so hard as a driver, not as a car owner, like just as a buddy and a driver, and I think that's made me way better. And obviously he's a better driver than I am.
Don't cut yourself short.
But the kid has showed me many things that have made me way faster over the
You
course.
don't drive into turn 3, 4 wide in the heat race and
Well, that's what I
pile it in the
mean.
fence,
Like,
that's
no, I try not to do that.
Yeah.
Well, also I'm the one paying the bills.
yeah. So you guys built the new car and you had your Allen Berry car. How did Brandon end up in the new car and you ended up and you still driving the Allen Berry car?
I love that Allen Berry car from the time I got it. I still like it. I mean, I still think that car is going to go out there and win. I mean, with Tim Churchill bought it from me.
Yeah.
I still think that car's a winning car. But we built that car for Brandon. Well, we built it. Then Brandon ended up driving it. This season, Brandon's back in that car again this year. And we built another one like that one for me to drive this year.
So you're going in the new one.
I finally driving the new one.
That's a first.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Like,
Good
so
for you.
Finally, I get one. Now, everybody needs to give Brandon some shit because he got a new body and he wants more new shit. Well, he got a new body and a new motor, and he thinks that he wants more new shit.
No, tell him he's got enough. Tell him you get the new shit this year.
No, we play games because that kid's always. This is a quick story. We were down to 360 and I had a brand new air cleaner. So one thing I put on my Allen Berry car was a brand new air cleaner cover. He goes, that's mine, right? And I was like, are you kidding me? We have one. Like, I have one new thing on my Allen Berry car. Can it be an air cleaner cover? And so he still gives me shit that he still has the old one, and Nate won't let me put a new one on Brandon's car. He gets this old. It's still a nice one, but
no, he gets the old rusty one. Yeah.
I'm trying to. I even told Nate, I'm like, hey, can you just order him a black one just so we don't have to hear it? He goes, absolutely not.
I think one of the funniest things I've seen Oscar involved with was at Lee 2 years ago. And there was like 4 super streets and he was running third.
Oh my God.
And he ran the 4th place car as it was coming around and to pass him into the backstretch wall, and 2 cars finished.
Yeah. No, I remember Oscar hit the wall at Hudson a few years ago, and they were checking on him. So they had rolled paramedics and all that, and he was fine. But they rolled them all down there, and they're checking him out. And I'm shut the mic off. I'm trying to wait so I can tell the crowd he's okay, but I can't find him. There's a sea of people down there. I go up, I think I was with Brian maybe, and I go up in the top, and I'm like, I can't see Oscar. Is he out of the car? He's got a neck brace on. His fire suit's unzipped, and he's yelling at the paramedics.
Oh, I remember this.
Get away from me! And he's looking at the wreck in his car. He's like, fuck.
Was that right around in turn 3?
Yeah, they're trying to walk him off in the ambulance to check him out, and he's fucking yelling at him, calling him names and all this stuff. It was great.
So, Claremont with the Super Street.
Yep.
Part-time, whenever you and Ricky set a schedule for the Outlaw.
I don't know if we'll set a schedule. It just be whatever.
Yeah, whatever,
Yep.
how it all works out. Full-time at Hudson, part-time at Hudson?
Now, I can't guarantee anything. I'm going to try to make quite a few races at Hudson. I like I said, I got to win a race there. I mean, I've run first, and I've run first until the last lap, but I've never won at Hudson. So
Are you going to run all the six-pack series races?
that's the plan.
That's the plan? Yeah.
The plan is to.
So you got a busy, you got a busy summer.
Yeah. It's some year I have to actually slim it down a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to happen this year. It definitely happened in this
What
year.
about the new hippo you built? I'm seeing in chat.
What?
Did you build it? Did you
No,
build
I
a
did
hippo?
not build a new hippo. Brandy's just trying to get stuff going, I think.
Oh, was there? Now, there's got to be a story. Is there a story about a hippo?
No, my son ran a hippo.
I can tell already.
My son ran a hippo, yes. But no, I don't need any more rust in my shop. Like, you guys know, I built a shop 3 or 4 years ago. It's actually a race shop. Finally, I'm not in just a garage that I turned into a race shop. And everybody wants me to build junk. And I'm like, we try to keep this place clean. But no, everybody wants me to build crazy stuff. And
So, this year, this fall, I talked to Ben about doing our nationals event, our summer nationals we're going to do for the Super Streets.
This fall, the Summer Nationals,
Yeah. Well, it's July 27th.
okay.
Okay. So, we posted like 5,000 to win. Good or bad?
I'd love it for the division. I mean, big money races obviously bring in more people. Do I think the racing's going to be better? I hope so.
I hope so, yeah.
I think everybody.
I mean, we worked really hard on the rules for this race. They're based off the Claremont rules. Because we have to protect our Claremont. Maybe that's the wrong word, but the Claremont Hudson Lee guys are the guys that support us week in and week out. Okay, so we base the rules off our rules package. Now there is some options for some other stuff with some weight penalties. So that's the only thing I'm a little concerned about is is I know what it's like to have to change a car around to go race one of those type of races. So I'm hoping they're small enough and easy enough where the guys can do it.
Yeah, I think so. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Like if we really want to race,
You're
we're
gonna race.
racers. We'll figure it out.
I mean-
We'll come to it. You will be there.
I mean, fortunately, we have a track owner that just loves this shit. Mm-hmm. Okay, and if it wasn't for Ben, none of us would be doing this. Nope. No 3-lane, Chris. And
Throw that in there.
if we,
I feel like Bob's here.
if this works, and I don't see any reason why it doesn't work, the sky's the limit with what we can do for this event. We just have to have the support of the teams to be able to move it forward.
I mean, as long as my cars are running, you know.
Oh
they'll be there.
I wanted your opinion more than anything else. If we did the right thing with that type of purse structure for this class, was it good or was it bad?
I think it's great. I mean, I liked it to pays back too.
Yeah.
You know, because when you hear 5,000 to win, and the second place guy still gets the same thing he would get on a normal race.
I can tell you where that purse came from. That's my $5,000 to win Granite State purse. Yeah. That's the exact same thing when we have a $5,000 to win Granite State race. That's the purse.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to build this division at this point. It definitely supports all the racetracks. I think this is what a lot of people come to watch is super street racing, and I think to build it, I think it's going to need a few big money to win races, and I think you guys were great with that one.
The 6-pack series, those are all $1,000 to win races. So there's 6 of those total, and plus at Claremont we have another. We got the Todd Martell Memorial race, which is $2,000 to win in May, and we got a couple other $1,000 to win races. So there's some. We've put a lot of support behind the Super Street class this year. I mean, because that's in my mind. I'm not gonna say it's been the backbone of the Speedway for the last 5 years, but it's supported the track really, really well, and it's time that we start giving back to not just the not even gonna say not just the modifieds and having other touring divisions and so forth and so on come in.
Yeah. No, I like super streets, but you know that us just running weekly stuff, it's tough sometimes. You know, so to run a race like that, I mean, I wish there was some time in between, you know, to prep a car for a race like that, because I mean, I think it takes a little extra time, you know, when you're prepping for a normal week stuff. We've got all of our normal maintenance and things that we take care of, but when you're getting ready for a big money to win race, there's some extra stuff we're looking at, but I think it's worth it. I mean, we'll put in extra time in the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll figure it out, and no, I think that's where we need to go with the super streets.
Yeah.
That's why
We have Friday night off that week, right? Yeah, Claremont has Friday night off that week.
Yep.
So it gives you an extra couple of days to.
Yeah, and Lee. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a good run going there last year. My first time ever having a good run at Lee, and we beat ourselves in the shop. I mean, we lost a rear end, totally on us, and that makes me more mad than anything.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Whatever, started ninth, running up through and
Waiting
had
an hour in the tire line too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Do you know they open it up and then they tease you? You go to lead, they tease you. They like, oh, you can get tires. No, you can't. You can get tires. No, you can't. That's what they kept doing. He kept doing it to me, and I'm like, hey, I don't even know what I'm gonna get for tires yet. He's like, oh, we'll open it in a minute. I'm like, all right, perfect. An hour later, he comes back. I'm like, he did it on purpose.
Did it on purpose.
But you know what? All it did was piss me off. So that was good.
Well, I made you
there,
drive
obviously.
hard.
It was definitely driving hard that day. But I finally figured that place out, I think, a little bit. I definitely had come up through the field, and I wasn't bouncing it off the fence. So I was doing good there. And then they start telling me I'm getting black flagged. And I'm like, no way. This is my best run I've ever had here. No way.
What happened? I already know the answer. I can tell.
Yeah, the drain plug may or may not have been tightened up all the way, and so we dumped the fluid out of it.
That happens.
Burnt it
Done
up.
there, done that. It
And
happens.
I might have thrown my biggest temper tantrum as a race driver, which I always say I don't like to do.
Yeah.
But I will say I apologize to my guys. I threw the biggest temper tantrum because I hate getting beat in the shop. If I get beat out there, I know it's all on me. But when you get beat in the shop,
Whoever, whether it was yourself or one of your crew guys, whoever did that, there ain't nobody that feels worse than that person does.
oh, I know that, and that's why.
That's
But when I finally had a run that I thought I could actually finish in the top 3 there at Lee, I was so more mad at myself for I know better than to go out there, especially at Lee. We have to change gears to go there.
Yeah.
And I should have double checked that stuff, but we were kind of in a hurry. We were juggling around. We didn't even know if we were going to Lee, and then we thought we might, and then we weren't, then we weren't. So whatever. It just got overlooked, and it sucked.
Yep.
Now, who helps make this happen for you other than yourself?
Definitely my mom and my dad support me 100%. They would give me anything I need. I try not to take advantage of that because when I call them and say I'm buying a new car, I just need to front a little bit of money because as a business owner, I don't always have enough cash to do that. And my parents support me. And it's so funny because my parents were not race fans. They thought I was wasting money. I'm silly. And then I started racing. And all of you guys here know that my parents haven't missed a race.
Right.
Yep.
And so they support me a lot. Marsh Brothers Deli, those guys are awesome. If you guys are ever in Lebanon.
Yeah, everybody goes here to eat. I have to go to Lebanon just to go to lunch someday.
Oh, yeah. And look up their specials. I mean, that's all I do is I call up. And my name there is Streeta the Cheetah. Now, it's Cheetah, guys, not Cheater. It's Cheetah. But those guys are awesome. Like, and their food's great. They definitely support. They've supported me for what now, 4 seasons or so. So I can't ask enough. Nathan Kelly at 360 definitely helps me out a ton. Kelleher Construction, he helps me out a lot. And obviously the Outlaw's a different set of people that are helping me get there with the Outlaw. But my normal week-to-week stuff is, and then obviously my company spends more money on helping me than it probably should. But
What's your company? Where are you located?
hey, are you calling the IRS or? No, okay, just kidding. No, I'm out of Canaan. We do a lot of work in Lebanon, Enfield area, but as you guys have seen me all over the place, we try to take care of everybody.
Got Claremont Motorsports Park put back together after the little microburst came right through there.
Yeah, Mike gave me a call and said, "What are you doing?" and we actually had a few guys get there pretty quickly and help out there. But we've done work there. Claremont, we work pretty much around that area. Yeah.
Brian Callan texted me a couple questions for you. Who do you wish you could have raced against in any division?
In any division?
Yeah, and you know, whether it's Punky or Jack or anybody that you wish you'd have the opportunity to race against.
Oh, come on! There's so many of those guys back when I was with Jack that I would love to race with. The Peter Daniels, the Dwight Jarvis. I mean, even those guys. I don't see myself in a modified, but I loved watching those guys, the Punky Karens. There's so many people I'd love to, but I give my racing career, say, to Donnie. I would love to race Donnie, and I want to beat Donnie.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in a car, maybe one of mine.
That'd be good.
That I could get Donnie maybe to get back in a Fender car, and
he'd have some fun in that class.
I think he would.
I do too.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not plans of that, but
no, I hear you.
We might see that in the future.
Yeah.
That would be a fun thing to do.
I can't see Donnie saying no if somebody asks him if he wants to drive the race car.
No, I don't either.
I don't see that happening,
But no, I owe so much to him. I learned so much from him, from Donnie and Danny Brown. You guys that were around the racetrack back in the 90s and early 2000s. Danny Brown taught me so much. I mean, yelling at me for wrapping thread tape the wrong way to everything else. I've learned so much. Every time I thread a fitting, I'm like, all right, I remember that.
I remember that. Okay. The second question he had was, what is your biggest regret in racing that you've done? What is your biggest regret?
what I don't. I mean,
Not going someplace or doing something wrong at the racetrack.
I mean, can't even count the things I've done wrong at the racetrack. So I try to think about those, but there's definitely some racetracks I'd like to hit, and I haven't in in the near future. I'd like to try, but I wish I would have started racing earlier. We'll see. I think I'll probably own cars for quite a while, but as soon as, like, honestly, a year ago, I almost got out of the seat and didn't think just didn't have it. I couldn't. Everybody kind of knew that I had a lull there after finishing second to Chuck, and then I just couldn't get out of my own way.
Could you do that? Could you just be a car owner?
Do you know, I don't know now, but I love to see my cars go. Like when I didn't race and I watched Brandon run that last race at Claremont last year. I love that.
Did you get just as much out of that as doing it yourself?
No, because my brain never stops.
Yeah.
Like, I don't sleep very good at night, but my brain never stops. So when I'm in the race car, I get to focus on one thing. It's the one time all week or all year that I can focus on one thing. My brain ain't going crazy. So I'll have to find a new way of handling that. Yeah. But I love to see cars go, and especially when I have a hand in making them go.
Sure.
That's what I love. But since the whole eyesight thing started with me, just during COVID, I don't know how many more seasons I got. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, I've always said 5 more, but it's been 5 more for the last 5 seasons. So I don't know. But when I'm unsafe, I'll get off the racetrack.
When Nathan and I stopped, of course, a little different scenario. We had the Granite State Series, and I was trying to do more in that. Wasn't nothing that I planned on stopping or anything. It just happened, and and I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to go to Tower and do that. And the only thing that keeps me sane and keeps me not getting back in the seat is not taking the opportunity to get into a car to go for a ride. I think if I ever just got back, Casey, I said this a couple weeks ago when Casey was here. Casey called when he comes up on Wednesdays to practice his pro stock. Every single time he comes up, jump in the car, take it for a ride. And I said, absolutely not, because it'll cost me $100,000 as soon as I did it. I mean, I'm just afraid if I stay out, I'm out. I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't know if even if I'm out, would I run the big races or still have to do something during the season? My wife tells me all the time, can we just slim down to a smaller amount of races? And I'm like, yeah, someday. Soon never comes, but soon.
Soon, yeah.
We got to get you back on here. This is a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, it was good to chit-chat and talk about some old memories.
Let's get you halfway through the season when things maybe are going good, maybe are not. See how things are going then.
Well, I don't know.
During the summertime, I bet he's working in the shop with 5 race cars or 3 race, whatever he has. I bet you summertime's a little tough sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is tough. I mean, the dirt stuff is less work too. As we were going, I want to go back to that real quick. The dirt stuff is a lot less. It's way more on the driver.
Yes.
The driver can manhandle things and move around on the racetrack quite a bit more than you can on asphalt. Yeah. So you went up there, and you and I were talking when you were up to Bradford this last summer. You can see they can move a half a groove in the car acts totally different. Yeah. Not quite like asphalt doesn't do that.
No, you can't move that half a lane up, or else you're gonna junk your car.
Right. So, but the maintenance definitely makes the car finish the races, but the car setup stuff, it's not like us. We're working on setup so much on asphalt. On the dirt, we know that it might change. If we get a bunch of rain on Saturday morning, guess what? The track changed.
You got bite.
Right.
Yeah.
That changes. So at 3:30, 4 o'clock, whenever we get there, we make the mad dash to make the change. Yep.
You want to touch on that before we go, Mike? That paper?
Oh. Yes, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
April 5th, guys, we're going to, Dave Luscord, April 5th, Saturday. Dave Luscord has put together a car show at Runnings in Claremont with the Outlaw Division and the go-karts, and the Speedway supporting it 100%. So anybody that wants to bring their car to Runnings on April 5th, you are more than welcome to. It's going to go from 12 to 3. Not sure if who from the Speedway will be there as far as us, because that's the weekend before we get practice open, and with the late winter, we'll probably be at the track. But we're going to support it in every way possible, from race cars to go-karts, hot rods, mud trucks, whatever anybody has. If you want to come and display it, you guys are more than welcome to. Reach out if you have questions about it for setup time, and I'm guessing they're going to be at noon, so I would say probably 10:30, 11 o'clock or something. You guys can start getting there. There's plenty of room. We did our car show there last year, so give it a big support. Runnings helped us out a lot last year. So
Excellent. And next week, not this coming weekend, but the following one,
Vermont Motorsports Expo in
White River, I think.
Is it White River? It is White River,
Yep.
yes. Robbie will have his new Outlaw there. Brian Roby will have his modified. And Matt Sonhalter will have his Super Street there. And we'll see you all there.
Excellent.
Wait.
We'll see you all there. Yep.
You guys will see John there.
I'll be there.
So-
I'll be there all week.
Awesome. Thank you for coming down.
Hey, thank you
You
for having
never
me.
know. You might see me there too. You never
No,
know.
I know. Yeah, I just wanted everyone to know I'll be there.
Yeah,
'cause,
John will be there. So.
That's a selling point.
And I'll be there too. So.
Awesome. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.